Hey everybody, and it's me, Greg, and we're going to do another video. We're going to focus on evacuation. I'm going to talk a little bit about what that is and kind of just give some examples, and then we're going to come down and I'm going to talk to you on how to do evacuation for your home to your business. And just like the other video, I'm going to kind of talk about both of them a little bit at the same time instead of separating it like a home and a business. It just makes things a little easier. So when we put them all together, when you go in a store, do you look around and say, how do I evacuate this place? Or when you go to a bank, do you have that same question as if I'm working at an office building? Probably not. And we all should because you never know when you might have to evacuate the building. It could be for a bomb threat, it could be for a fire, it could be an active shooter, it could be severe weather, it could just be about anything, and they'll tell you you need to evacuate. Most retailers like Walmart, Kohl's, or these large retail stores that might be in your area, if automatically they need to evacuate, there's usually employees that will guide you from your point all the way to the exit doors or kind of guide you to side doors, windows if it has to come to that, and to make sure you're safely getting out. So that's a good plus. But there's going to be times where you may not have any assistance and you have to figure it out on your own. That's why you got to take consideration and just remember how you got into the door, into the facility, and then how you go to all the different areas where you need to go, and then just try to remember, okay, how did I get out? But you also got to remember, try to have at least two ways of knowing how to get out because everybody thinks and everybody just has this on their mind. The first door they come to is they think that's the only door to the place. But we don't realize there are other doors throughout the entire facility that we can utilize if we have to evacuate. And most importantly, follow the exit signs because all exit signs will lead to some sort of a um, door that will go to an exit. And like I said, if that particular door is obstructed or evacuation route is blocked, then you could go and look up to another exit sign and say, oh, there's one going this way. And you could lead to that direction, and that could lead you out to another door or another route. So, again, pay attention. And I know it's challenging because, especially when we're going grocery shopping, all we want to do is go in, go get out, and we're not paying attention because it's not in our minds. Um, what routes we're taking, what we're going, what doors are we taking, and that kind of thing. So, again, take the time to do that. And just like the flight attendants always say, there might be an exit behind you. One of the things I normally will do, and I'll be very honest, and especially if you're staying in a hotel, look at the back of the door. Most rooms have like a map on the back of your door. And give you information, just basic information on preparedness, and what to do if there's a fire. And we'll get into that in another video down the road when we start talking about fire preparedness and how to react to fires. And we'll probably do another video like this with evacuations because they kind of blend in together with fires. But anyway, just look at that sign of that map on the back. Gives you a little bit of information, again, what to do if there's a fire that breaks out, and it kind of gives you a little indication on how to evacuate your room. And then there's this map. And look at that map and then study the map really quickly. Just kind of get your route. Um, kind of figured out in the hotel. And usually with hotels, there's usually two ways out of the hotel. You got one to the left, one to the right of your room. And I always do that every time I go to a hotel. And I actually don't take the elevator that often. I like taking the stairs. So that's how I get very, very familiar with the hotels because if something does happen, you will not be reliable to use those elevators. So, we're especially at a place to stay. If you're going to stay at a hotel for more than one day, I recommend doing that. And also do the same thing at a place of work. If you work at a in a 2 or 3 story building or a high rise building, do the same thing. Get to know, it's what I call get to know your building. Know where all your exit signs are, know where your routes are, know where your exits are, if there's any stairs, if there's any other things that might relate to help you with your evacuation, the better. And especially, and I mention this all the time, is always, always think about the physically challenged, your handicap, especially the ones that are deaf and cannot see, because they will need extra time to evacuate. And if you see them, no way, shape, or form, need help or assistance, get out there and help them. I cannot stress that enough because they don't know what's going on. And they can hurt themselves, because they can't hear, they can't see. So I want to clarify that, even the elderly too. So, if you're working in a place or you're staying in a place or at a place for a few minutes, like grocery shopping, going to the bank, doing insurance or whatever you're doing, and something happens, take that in consideration, please. Okay, the more the merrier, we can help people. Now we're going to take what I just mentioned there, and now we're going to start taking it into a plan. Let's take a look at your house. Say like you live at a 2-story house. Most 2-story houses have a basement, have a first level, and a second level. The first level, you normally have your main door as the doors you come in and out of your front. Then you have the back door, which could lead into the pool area, your backyard, whatever's back there, your garage area, whatever. And then you start looking at the windows. What kind of windows do you have? Do you have ones that slide up like this, up and down? I could pop the screen out, or those ones that crank and the window opens up. Look at your windows. Can I be able to get out of those windows if my doors are blocked or obstructed? Routes. And look at those. Now, upstairs, you might say, well, my windows go out. Okay. And like I said in my write ups, only escape outside the windows if there's a ladder nearby, or you could get these things now where I think they some at the hardware store or some safety store you can get, and it's kind of like an attractable um like a ladder where you could put on the edge and you just push it out and it comes like this ladder. It kind of folds up and you can use that as an escape. Those are fine too. I do not recommend breaking the window. If the window opens, jumping out the window. I cannot stress that enough, especially if it's up higher. But it's okay, again, if you have those extractable ladders, or if there's a ladder nearby, then fine, you can utilize it. But don't put yourself in a position where you can get hurt, you can even die, because you took that advantage of jumping out the window or a door. And then, okay, so we're going to go back to the windows and doors, and then you write down your routes. You go this way, you go this way. This is the door we're going to use. This is the back door we're going to use. These are the windows we're going to use. And then just write down procedures, and then do a map. Now, if your basement, and some basements do have a door that does go out, add that to your list too. So it's very, very easy. Now, if you have your own business and like you run a shop in a little strip mall or something, do the same exact thing. Where's your doors? There's a back door, there's a front door. Just write down your procedures, what to do, what not to do, and then map it out. Very simple. And if you don't know what to do and how to write that, there are some stores, like at Walmart or some of these major retailers, they will actually have the evacuation maps on the walls or in like the posts throughout the aisles. You'll see that, and then might have a little information on how to evacuate. Take a look at that. It's okay. Take a look at that, and that'll give you a little sense. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. That kind of thing. When you do the evacuation route on a map, I recommend using a dark color like a black or red. That's something that stands out so everybody sees it clearly. Don't try to use something like a yellow highlighter or something like a pencil because it's not going to show that much. And if you do end up having like your own business, you might want to blow these up on a computer and actually use the arrows from your computer program and make them big and black, and then that way it does stand out, so you can post those all over the area as well. So there's the few things there you can do. And then also, if you do have exit signs, make sure they're eliminated. I've been to stores where they're half eliminated. It's like they don't seem to care. And you got to remember, once the lights and everything go out, you can't see. Now, these exit signs have a backup power. Well, I forget what their lifetime is. They have like a battery in them or whatever, and they'll light up. Kind of like the evacuation route on an airplane, they'll light up. That's exactly what these will do. And so, it kind of helps with the lighting as well, so you can see where you're going. But make sure, like I said, if you have a store that has exit signs, make sure they're working properly. If you have a bulb out, replace it. Make sure everything is perfectly lined where you're going. Don't and look at your plans. Don't sit there and write up a plan. Okay, I'm done with it. Okay, test your plan out. I cannot stress that out. Test your plan out. Look at your plans. Make sure it correlates to what you're doing. Because sometimes when you're looking at an area and say, okay, I'm writing this, but I'm looking at it actually in the opposite way. I could say make a right and go exit to this door here. Well, actually, if I came out of that door, I'm actually supposed to go left. Why you're telling me right? Well, it was because the way you looked at it and you said to the right, but actually it went to the left. So that's why you want to make sure everything is lined up perfectly to your plan. That way it's not backwards or upside down or whatever. And then practice your plan. I cannot stress that enough. Practice. And if something is out of sequence, doesn't go right or whatever, that's where you fix it. And again, I keep stressing this. Your emergency plan is a living document. You're going to add, you're going to take away, you're going to subtract, you're going to fix this, you're going to fix that. You might move a door, you might move a room. This window doesn't work anymore. More, I might have something blocked here. You're going to change things around. When you do that, make sure you have that in your plan, in your procedures, in market. So people know. Now, if you live in a house, yeah, it's okay to verbally communicate this stuff. I'm not necessarily saying write it down, but if you do have an emergency plan, I would recommend to have it written down and practice this. And again, this will be great for your kids and grandkids, nephews, nieces, children to have this kind of activity. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. Get them involved and get involved with your planning. I hope this gives you a better idea on how to do evacuation plans. Again, these are great for your business and your home. Oh, and also look at your home. And if you live in an apartment building, I want to jump on this real quick too. If you live in an apartment building and you're doing a plan, make sure you look at your stairwells and which ones again close, and your exit signs, and make sure you follow them and which stairwells to go to, because some of us do live in, well, I used to live in a high-rise apartment building a long time ago, so I kind of know it's a little bit more challenging than a two-story or even apartment, because it's easy. But when you're living in these high-rise apartments, which is like 29 stories high, you got to have a little bit more of a challenge of where things go. And then once we get into the fire videos in a few down, probably in just a couple weeks to about a month, because October is fire preparedness month. I will probably review some of this stuff because again, it correlates to fire, and we'll talk about what happens. Okay, if I evacuate, what happens if I'm blocked? What do I do next? Or, what if I can't get to my routes? So we're going to talk about that. Right now, I'm just talking about the basics on how to observe it to help you build a evacuation route and plan. So I hope this helps. And again, all this information will be down in the comments. You can also check my Facebook, and I will add that as well. I hope this, again, helps with your evacuation plan, and I hope your emergency plan is going well so far. I hope this is helping you. So far, we talked about the hazards. We talked about how to prepare, what to do, and then the response when it happens. Use an example as I think I used tornado, and now evacuation. In our next video, we'll talk about what comes next after that, and we'll just continue our way and then hit into the fire prevention and preparedness. So, everyone, take care, and we'll see you in our next video.